The first hit came so fast she didn't even get to raise a hand. Her head slammed into the concrete wall with a dull, sick thud. Then again, and again. The air emptied from her lungs. They thought she'd drop. They thought she'd go still like others had before. But Arya Langston wasn't just any officer, and she sure as hell wasn't unconscious. 3 Marines had cornered her in the maintenance corridor behind Fort Griffin's training annex. No cameras, no witnesses, just flickering bulbs and old locker dust. They chose that place for a reason, but what they didn't choose was who they were messing with. Arya bled. She dropped to her knees. But she didn't disappear. She recalibrated. And that's when everything changed. Out in the dark, the storm had just begun. Fort Griffin never really slept. Even at midnight, the combat annex hummed under flickering fluorescent light. Arya walked the length of the corridor, each step echoing off the walls like a warning. Blood still clung to her temple, dried dark against her jawline, but she moved like nothing happened. She didn't call anyone, didn't file a report, didn't even clean the corridor. She walked through the rain outside, letting it wash the dried red from her face. Not shame, not silence, just calculation. In the barracks washroom, she disinfected the gash with rubbing alcohol. No flinch, no towel, no hesitation. Wrapped it with gauze, tight and low, beneath her hairline. The mirror had been ripped out years ago. That suited her fine. She clicked on her recorder, spoke a single sentence. 2203 hours, 3 Marines, still conscious. Then deleted it, because she wasn't here to tell anyone. She was here to remember. By sunrise, Arya was already back at the training yard. Uniform crisp, clipboard in hand, not a strand of hair out of place. The gauze tucked neatly under her bun. From a distance, she looked unshaken. The roster was taped centerboard. Drill assignments. Orr, Tanner, Voss, front and center. Arya would lead the circuit herself. The message wasn't written, but it echoed across the base, louder than any announcement. 24 Marines and SEAL candidates lined up, gear clanking in the dry morning heat. Arya's voice cut across the yard like clean metal. "You meet the standard, or you don't wear the uniform." She wasn't there to punish. She was there to remind of the standard and who still owned it. The drills started brutal, weighted sleds across gravel, dummy extractions from a flooded pit, underwater recovery with zero visibility. Arya timed them all. Precise, cold, fair. Rohr and Tanner stumbled through every event, failed each standard by seconds, slipped, missed grips, overshot targets. Arya didn't flinch. She just called the time. 3:22, fail. Again. By the third event, Tanner was cramping. Rohr's hands bled through his gloves. Still, she didn't soften. Behind her mirrored shades, no emotion. Only the stopwatch. Then she stepped in herself. Same drill, same gear, 40-pound vest, full boots. She surfaced in 32 seconds. No words, just the standard. Met, lived, proved. And that's when Rohr's fury cracked into fear. By evening, the locker room steamed with sweat and silence. Showers hissed, tiles gleamed slick. Arya walked in calm, towel draped, gym shirt clinging from drills. Rohr waited. Tanner and Voss nearby, quiet but coiled. He stepped forward, anger barely masked. "You enjoy humiliating us?" She didn't answer. He shoved. She didn't fall. Her grip found his wrist, pivoted. His momentum slammed him into the steel lockers. Once, twice, then a final drive into the hinge. He dropped, breath gone. Tanner lunged, missed. Arya dropped him flat with a sweep and strike. Voss hesitated. Wrong move. She pinned him before he even landed. The door creaked open. Military police. He saw 3 down, 1 standing. "You okay, Commander?" She didn't turn. They slipped. Morning came quiet, just wind in the power lines and the low hum of trucks outside the mess. Arya sat at her usual table. Black coffee, untouched egg, oatmeal steady. Same posture, same calm. Across the hall, Roar limped through the door. Tanner followed, ribs wrapped tight. Voss trailed behind, slower than both. The room noticed. Conversations dipped. Forks paused. They scanned for seats. No one offered. They walked past Arya's table like it burned. She didn't look up. 3 SEAL candidates watched, whispered, "That's her." Another added, low and certain, "That's what staying conscious looks like." The phrase spread fast, and Arya drank her coffee in silence. Abonniere den Kanal, schreib einen Kommentar und teile das Video. At 6:30, Arya stood in the corridor again. Same spot, same steel-gray walls. Her boot hovered over the faint scuff mark where her skull had hit 2 nights earlier. She wasn't on duty. No orders placed her there, but she waited anyway. Roar stepped out from the stairwell, Tanner behind him, Voss trailing. No laughter, no smug glances, just silence. They saw her and froze. There was no confrontation, no apology, just 3 men who now understood what kind of woman they tried to break and failed. Voss lingered. Arya turned her head, not a glare, just memory, and that alone made him flinch. Arya stood in that hallway not to haunt it, but to own it. The dent in the wall had been painted over, the floor scrubbed, but she remembered where her knees hit, where her blood ran, and where she stood up again. No one ordered her there. She didn't need orders. Some scars don't ask permission. When Roar and his crew passed by, they kept their distance. No insults now, no smirks, just silence. Voss caught her eye, barely. A flick of guilt. She didn't nod, didn't blink, just held the line. Because the corridor remembered too, and so did they. The next morning, a folder landed on Arya's desk. Master Chief J.T. Callahan stood in the doorway, jaw set, tone even. "Maintenance corridors getting lights and patrol upgrades. You won't be walking it solo anymore." She nodded once. No surprise, no denial, just quiet acknowledgement. He set the folder down. "You're assigned to Advanced Combat Instruction. Starts Monday. Permanent slot." She flipped it open. Certification, signed and dated. There'd be no ceremony, no announcement, just a new role. Earned, not given. Callahan paused at the door. Some lessons don't need a lecture, just clarity. She met his eyes, then returned to her clipboard. The locker bay never echoed the same way again. Midday sun lit the parade ground as Arya stepped out, boots sharp against the concrete. The base moved around her, trucks groaning, radios crackling, boots crunching gravel, but her presence made the air different. Cadets passed her with straight backs. Instructors nodded, silent, but aware. At the mess, conversation dropped when she entered. Not out of fear, but recognition. She sat alone. Same corner. Same coffee. Roar passed by, jaw tight, bruised, quieter now. Tanner winced with each breath. Voss didn't speak. They kept their distance. No one spoke her name anymore. They just called her the one who stayed conscious, and that was enough.